Hi y'all, good evening. This is the PM live stream, day 208. Oh my gosh, is it 88? I'm going crazy, y'all. 200 and yes, 288 days since Richard disappeared. Since Richard vanished from the barracks there on Fort Bliss. Now Paso, Texas. And it seems that when momentum gets going and there's a lot of silence being broken, big strides forward in understanding what happened to find Richard, leverage to use. And I'm talking about right now with the CID, there's a big change going on in the CID. Then of course information coming in to be able to write letters giving a picture of what was happening in the barracks with the Article 15, what was going on with the leadership, just to shine a very bright light. Because if you're looking for something, you need to shine a light on all the parts. And just when that is happening, sometimes the devil tries to divide you. You know, the devil tries to use, I don't know, tries to create a lot of misunderstandings or a lot of shenanigans or whatever to stop the process, to stop the light, to throw a shade over the light, you know. Evil doesn't like the light being shined on them. And so there's always stumbling blocks in the way. So I just was really in prayer just now, and I want to thank everyone for not forgetting Richard and for not forgetting why we're looking for Richard. You know, he's a human. He's a young soldier. It's just not right, y'all, that he disappeared in a very safe space that was so dangerous and so many shenanigans. You think we have shenanigans? Oh my gosh, that barracks, it was bad, y'all. And what that causes is that it causes something that every one of us should be concerned about. And that is the readiness of the army is in danger. When the barracks, when you have soldiers fighting against soldiers, when you have commands not liking soldiers because of their own personal concerns, and they can't support the looking for their soldier because of a feeling that they have, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble because when we are enemies to ourselves, when we have domestic enemies, and we have an army that's not protecting against domestic enemies, and we have volunteer sons and daughters in the army being harmed, being brought to suicide thoughts and gestures, or even suicide itself, being brought to squabbles that lead to very bad things. Very bad things. You know, there's this this thought that Richard went AWOL, that he is in Mexico. And I hope they're true. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's true. But 288 days, y'all. And with the Army being the way it is, if Richard went AWOL, they would have let us know already, I think. Because they want him to be AWOL. It would make them look really good. It would end this, and everything that has come out in the light would stop, would not matter. And that is why I entertain the possibilities of the others. The abduction, the murder, the accident, maybe a training accident, maybe a squabble accident. I don't entertain suicide because that would have come out anyway. And now that I know some additional information that's come out in the light, I mean, it's still there. It's still a possibility. I could be wrong, but it's not one I lean to. The ones I lean to are the abduction, the murder, and the accident. Those are the three that I personally, because maybe they didn't mean to, but it happened. It could have been an accident. Maybe they meant to, because he knew something. So do I think that I'm looking for Richard's body? Unless abduction, he's still over there. Did he get over there somehow? So, I just want to thank you for not forgetting Richard, and to really watch out for apathy or anger or just boredom or whatever with this case, because it's really important. Because at the beginning of 2020, or in March 2020, when all this was really going on full speed, if one person would be injured, it would be a total travesty. If 1 million people are injured, no big deal. But if one person is injured, it's a travesty. And I think Richard is just one of many, many, many. And that's why it's not so much of a travesty. So that's why I'm thanking you for remembering him. But for our country, it's really serious business. Because if they can do this to a young man that volunteers to serve in the military with very good intention, not to get out of trouble, not to get away from his family, not to, for any other reason, with good intentions, gave his all. And if they can systematically destroy him like they did, and they did, I have all the information that screams it, y'all. It's not just a hint of it. It screams it. That the culture was so bad that they went after him to destroy him. Now, when I say destroy him, I mean destroy his whole military career, destroy him mentally. I don't know if they destroyed him physically, but I know the other. Because when this first started, I know they did that to him. The mental abuse, the abuse of power, because they did it to us. They didn't contact us to let us know that our son was missing. AWOL, deserter, whatever you want to call it. They took their sweet time, 28 days, to secure his belongings. It's unacceptable. They intimidated us. They lied to us. They've covered things up. They failed to give timely press releases and conferences to show an esprit de corps. They've given some, but they haven't shown an esprit de corps. They met with us without uniforms on, which I think was a kind attempt to not make us feel intimidated. But I think that was, on hindsight, that's when I gave all the information to them to find out who this woman was that turned out to be Richard's, at that time, first sergeant's wife. And there was no response to that. So, you know, when you want to try to have some kind of connection with the family, but cover up things that really hurt the family and really lead to a misunderstanding that is just another unforgivable misunderstanding. I guess I shouldn't say unforgivable, but a horrendous mistake on their part that damages the trust between the family and the United States Army. Just the way this all has been handled. So, you know, we've had to endure, and I'm not in self-pity or anything. I'm just saying, I know that this was done to Richard through all the paperwork, reading through everything that we have, the soup sandwiches, now the letter, that was big, the eyewitness accounts, all the people that we talked to for months when we were there in Juarez, what we experienced in Juarez, and then also in El Paso, the soldiers we talked to, nurses coming out to help, lots of different things, on and on and on, the experiences, the people that we met, the meetings that we attended, the lack of people that would come to the meetings, the crickets. The crickets spoke very loud, y'all. The crickets made a lot of sound. Yeah. So there really, in Richard's unit, there was no esprit de corps. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They had major problems. I know the suicide attempt rates were very high throughout all this. So I know the leadership was really obnoxious, arrogant, callous, not Operation People First. So here you have a young man. I put up the Principolo just because it shows that Richard had, they should have gotten to know their soldiers. They should get to know them. And they failed to do it. And it makes them very bad leaders. Because it makes them just numbers. It makes them just meat that fills up a uniform. But Richard was not just meat that filled up a uniform. He's a human being. And I know what kind of movies he liked and the songs that he liked to sing and dances that he did when he was younger, and the snacks that he liked to eat. He liked board games and fake money and Monopoly money and taking long walks. Taking long walks. And so when everything happened in March and they took all that away, even a long walk. And I was told with the 15-6 that was not true, but I read the order. I read the order. And I just think it's so despicable. I just don't know how they're going to recover without confessing to God. Because I think the only way they will ever get strength to recover from this horrendous crime against humanity, and it is a crime against humanity. It's a human rights abuse case. It is. It's a crime against humanity, and the only way that they're going to recover from this, what they have done to our volunteer soldiers, and I mean, it goes all the way up, y'all. What they have done to our volunteer soldiers, what they have done to the people of this country, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I don't know how they're going to recover without sackcloth and ashes and repenting before God. Because only the power of God now can recover our country. And only the power of God knows where Richard is. Because it's going to take the power of God for people to come out. There's just so many distractions because of the economy being the way it is, the culture being the way it is. There's too much of one person wanting to lord over another person. And it's burning down our house. The place we love, the place we live. And I'm a little melancholy tonight because of the things that I'm piecing together. It takes a lot of time to go through all this paperwork and piece it all together. Paperwork is a great thing because it's a soup sandwich, y'all. And it speaks volumes of the total chaos of insanity that went on. That means bad leadership. When things are chaotic, that means bad leadership. And I want to tell you that when all this was taking place, the leadership was different there than what it is now, as far as people. So I hope that they're cleaning up the mess. But it was a mess. But what I want to say to them now is, in order to clean up that mess, you have to come clean about Richard. Otherwise, you're just adding right to it. And cover up is not confession. And this is a cover up, y'all. It screams it. It screams it. I mean, something went on over there in Juarez too. This is a huge soup sandwich. And is this what our volunteer sons and daughters have to look forward to when they join the Army with the best intentions and try really hard? Is this what they have to look forward to? Is chaos, cover up, and crime against humanity? It's a CCC. CCC. Yeah. I'm not going to accept that. And that's why I'm moving forward. And I just want to thank all of you for knowing the absolute weight of this. The weight of how important this is for our future. And I didn't want Richard to be the very first soldier to go through the scrutiny of the absent soldier flowchart. I didn't want this. But this is what it is. And he is. And the media looks the other way. They know about Vanessa Guillen. And let me tell you, if you care about the Vanessa Guillen case, and not because Richard is my son, maybe a little bit because Richard is my son, but this is a slap in Vanessa Guillen's face that they are not taking the absent soldier flowchart seriously and covering Richard. It really is. It's despicable. And not only Vanessa Guillen, but all of those that have been victims in their own bases, their own forts, right there in their barracks, their workplaces, their motor pools, their arms rooms. And the way the Army wants to clean this up, I don't know, is to not find Richard. Because according to the Dollar General man that got his information from the loose lips Lieutenant Colonel man who would know, they already have Richard's body. Where is it? Now, wouldn't that be a crime against humanity if the Dollar General man, who I don't discredit, y'all, because they did not present him to us in the correct way. It was cover up. And don't tell me that what they said was true after they had lied and lied and lied and intimidated. And they don't lie like, you know, what they do is they give you a false witness. They take the truth and they subtract things out of it that they don't want to say, and they present it in such a way that it is like a psyops, that your mind thinks something differently than what actually happened. So if, you know, I just don't trust them when it comes to Dollar General man and loose lips Lieutenant Colonel man. I don't. And it fits too well in there with the soldier that had Richard's credit card, with the Kilometer 29 story, with the border story. There's just too many things that are connecting very, very well. And when you have puzzle pieces that start making a picture, you know you're connecting them pretty well. And that's why things are breaking. Because there's a good chance that this was a huge foul play. And I know what I'm saying is risky. And I'm hoping that Richard is alive. The FBI is too clever for that. The State Department's too clever for that. Are they? The Dollar General man's too clever for that? That Dollar General man's testimony, should I put up the cashier's eyewitness account to that again? I think it's very, very important. I have that. I was there talking to her. I was there talking to not just one person. It's very important. And I'm starting to believe him more and more every day that they have Richard's body and they're not giving it to us. And they might say, no, we don't have Richard's body. But that's what Dollar General man said. That loose lips Lieutenant Colonel man said. We found him. He's dead. That would make them shake in their boots. That would make them shake in their boots. And if this is true, and I hope it's not true, I hope Richard is alive out there somewhere. But if this is true, and this is a crime that they're committing, how are they going to recover when they stand in front of God? How are they going to recover from that? That's been my theme all week. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, how are they going to recover from keeping him from us and giving him a proper burial and owning up to the insidious accumulating toxicity that led to something like this? How are they going to do it? So if any of you have questions, I know, in the morning I'm pretty peppy. By the time the evening comes by and I'm putting things together and doing all my daily duties and everything and thinking and thinking and thinking. And when I go to bed, I say my prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. And I know that sounds silly. A child's prayer. But when you learn that as a child, it sticks with you. And it means more and more and more to you. When you're a child, you think as a child. And as you grow up, and you say those words, and if I should die before I wake. Because it means that you're grateful for a peaceful night's sleep. And you just hand it over, your entire life, you hand over to God before you close your eyes. You hand it over to Him. Stop worrying so that you can sleep. That's how I get us some sleep at night. God, it's in your hands, and I know the stars are out tonight. And they're fighting against Sisera. That's what I say. Yeah. Because when I think of the level of evil behind this, yeah, that's why they're shaking in their boots. That's why there's visible shaking. That's why we're being called manure. Our words are manure. That's why they're saying that they can't possibly help because they don't feel it. I mean, I'm going to read that again. I can't get over these words. I can't get over them. I believe it would be disingenuous of me to pretend to support a cause I do not feel. If that's not the most cold-blooded sentence coming from Darth Vader about trying to find Richard, I don't know what is. That's worse than any kind of, oh, these mommies and daddies don't want their children to grow up and don't even answer me on that one because whatever you say is manure. That's worse than that. Because that statement is a total denial of duty. A total dereliction of duty. And a very heartless soul. A heartless soul. An empty shell of a man. A spineless, empty shell of a man. I guess just a machine. Goes on to quote Darth Vader, so I call him Darth Vader. I think it fits really well. I think it fits really well. So, yeah. And I want to say that the second first sergeant's wife was like, why would you want to look for him? Just let him suffer. My father, I remember when she quoted her father, would never come to bat for us. I'm like, wow. Wow. That's sad. That's really sad. Because, number one, that screams of the supposition that Richard had committed crimes. Richard hasn't committed a crime. Maybe of a different political view. Maybe of being a Christian. Maybe wanting justice. Maybe wanting righteousness. So, Hansen kind of said that in his article, right? Pointed that out. It was very important. So, yeah. Something is not right, y'all. And there is a certain person out there that knows what happened. And I'm talking to you. And you wanted to tell me at one point. I know you did. You told me to get the dogs out. I hope you call me. Because guilt is worse than a boogeyman. Guilt is worse than Darth Vader. Guilt is worse than the devil himself. So, I hope you call me. You know my number. You know how to get in touch with me. Because it's all starting to come out. It's starting to come out. The silence is breaking. And we need to break the silence. For the sake, first of all, for the sake of Jesus Christ. And all we do, we have to give glory to God. And then for the sake of our volunteer sons and daughters that make up the entirety of the U.S. Army, of the U.S. military. And then for the sake of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights, which has given us a very privileged life here on this soil, no matter where you were from. It gave you a name, an American, a United States citizen. It gave you a name. And if we don't protect this republic, that Constitution, that Bill of Rights, will be forsaken. Will be forsaken. God won't take it lightly, y'all. He's no buttercup. So thank you for not forgetting Richard. Thank you for not forgetting why we're looking for Richard and what's at stake and why I won't give up and why never, when the world wants to go back to child sacrifice, I am not. I will not stand in lockstep with that. I will not stand shoulder to shoulder with that. I will not. And that goose stepping, they can just goose step in the opposite direction from me because it's going off the cliff. You know, off the cliff. And I did have someone ask me about why I say ambulance down in the valley. Well, there's this poem, and you will find that John Denver went to England, matter of fact. Very curious. I mean, I know why. I know why. He went to England and recited the ambulance down in the valley. And the ambulance down in the valley is about a cliff. And there's some people that have fallen from the cliff. Even some dukes, even some princes, even some serfs. They have fallen down off this cliff. And the town wanted to know what to do about it. What do we do about this cliff? And some said, okay, let's just put a fence on the top of the cliff to prevent people from falling down. But there was a large amount of people that said, no, it's not the falling that hurts. It's when you hit the rocks below. So we need an ambulance down in the valley to collect the people after they hit the rocks. And everybody has to pay taxes continuously for this ambulance, and then for the hospitals, and then for the rehabilitation, and then for the funerals, and then for the roads that the ambulance has to go on, and the yada 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 yada, on and on and on. And for the directors of the ambulance, and for the directors of the hospital, and for all the medication that they have to use, and the bandages, and the this, and the that, and whatever. And the ambulance down in the valley people rather have people smashing themselves on the rocks than keeping them from falling. And this is what we have. This is what we have. We have a lot of solutions to the problems today that are solutions that are ambulance down in the valley instead of the fence. And you have to discern when you hear solutions. Is it a fence, or is it the ambulance down in the valley? And I'm going to tell you, 2020 was a huge year for the ambulance down in the valley. When there are many fences that would have done the job. How are those people that covered up the possibilities to use the fences and keep people from falling off the cliff, yet voted for the ambulance down in the valley and profited from those who smashed against the rocks? It's a crime against humanity. And that's why I say it. Much bigger than what happened in World War II in Germany. But I'm going to stand with people like Corrie ten Boom and Mother Teresa and Florence Nightingale and Bonhoeffer. People like that. And when I get down and out, and I do, y'all, I do. I get down and out. Talk about the stress of the last few weeks, I guess the last month and a half with my dad. Just the physical stress of everything. Then I think of John Knox on that galley ship that never gave up. And I think, keep rowing, Pat. Keep rowing, keep rowing, keep rowing. Keep singing those hymns. Keep singing those hymns. Onward, Christian soldier, marching out to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. That's what I do. Keep rowing. Keep singing those hymns and drive those evil demons crazy, because that's what John Knox did. He drove them crazy with the cross of Christ, with the faith of Christ, with the joy of Christ, with the light of Christ. He drove them crazy, and that's how he had victory. And that's how we're going to find Richard. So, trust me, they need to resend that Article 15. Sign that petition. Post it up everywhere. Copy and paste it everywhere and get signatures. It's at Go Petition. Just search Richard Halliday. Post it up everywhere. God bless you. Good night, y'all. See you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.